I'm Jill Meadows at the Huntington YMCA, and today we are going to be learning Pigeon Pose. Oftentimes in my yoga class, when we do the actual Pigeon Pose, I refer to doing it in the chair. This is actually one of my favorite poses, and there's tons of ways to do this. Doing it in the chair is accessible for everyone. It is accessible for people that have knee issues, hip issues, balance issues. It is great for people that can actually do Pigeon Pose. So this variation is great. You can do it at home, you can do it at work, you can do it wherever you can sit down. This is great to do for runners, for cyclists. So again, this pose, which is, like I said, my favorite, I'm really excited to be teaching this variation because I talk about it all the time in class. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and make sure that your feet, knees are hip width apart, and make sure also that you're sitting slightly forward in your seat. If you are slightly back, well, if you're like me and you've got short feet, that's an issue. But also you wanna have that mobility in the legs. So make sure that your sits bones are in contact. So first thing that we're gonna do, go ahead and release those hands to the seat of your chair, and we're gonna fire up the core. You're gonna inhale and you're gonna float that right knee up, and exhale, float it down. Other side, inhale that left knee up, and exhale, float it down. Inhale that right knee up, stay here. So think of that left foot pressing down, keeping your right knee up. Nice deep exhale. Inhale, making sure that the crown of the head is over the shoulders, over the hips. And on that next exhale, float it down. Inhale, float that left knee up. So again, as you exhale, think of pressing that right foot down. So I often say in my yoga practice, press down to lift up. This is the same philosophy. Press down through that standing foot, even though we're seated, to lengthen through the whole spine. Exhale, float it down. Adding on, inhale that right knee up. So you can stay here, or you can release those hands to the front of the knee or to the back. If you take this option, make sure that you're not slumping. So you're actually going to use the strength of the arms, pressing the palms into the knees to help maintain your spine nice and long, energizing out through the crown of the head. And as you are working those arms, you are relaxing the hips. We hold a lot of tension in the hips. This is why we're doing Pigeon Pose. So take that nice deep inhale, working the shoulders back, and as you exhale, float it down. Other side, inhale that left knee up, hands to the front of that knee. So you might notice one side is a little bit more limited in mobility. When you do this at home on your own, do your bad side, do your good side, repeat the bad side, okay? So as you exhale, palms actively pressing into that knee, slowly drawing that knee in, working those biceps. As you exhale, slowly float it down. So now moving on to actual Pigeon Pose. We're gonna do a progression, okay? So that we touch all the modifications, so that at any point, if you feel pain in the knee, the hip, do not progress. So the first variation that we're gonna do is you're gonna cross that ankle over to meet the other ankle. Release your hands to the opposite knee, to your left knee. So depending on how flexible that right hip is, the knee will either release open or it might be slightly lifted. As you exhale, slightly lean forward. So if you're really tight in that right hip, you're gonna start feeling it in that right hip. However, if you have pretty mobile hips, then you're not gonna feel this. This is gonna do nothing for you. So take an inhale, draw those shoulders back, and go ahead and release out of that. Slightly extend your left heel forward. We're gonna release that ankle to below the knee, okay? This time, grab your ankle. You can release that right hand to your knee. Take a nice deep inhale to lengthen the spine. As you exhale, lean forward. So this is when you're gonna start feeling it. Even if you are not tight in that hip, you're still gonna feel some sort of release. This is also great if you have low back pain. This is especially great if you have sciatica. That compression on that nerve gets released when you do this stretch. So take an inhale, draw the shoulders back, and exhale out of it. So if at any point this feels good, go and move on to this next progression, making sure that your left heel is directly under that knee. We're gonna take an inhale, float that right knee up, hands to the front of that knee. As you exhale, hug it in. So notice how I'm actively drawing that knee in. This time you're gonna hook the ankle over. Don't do what I always do. Don't let that left knee drop in. Keep it in alignment. Left hand to the ankle, right hand to the knee, releasing it down. So maybe this is where you need to stay. Maybe already you're feeling that opening in your right hip by simply opening that right knee. Or you can exhale, lean forward. Stay here as you inhale, lengthening through the spine, lengthening the back of the neck. So again, if there's no pain in that knee, the hip, exhale, lean forward. So notice that as you lean forward, you go deeper into that hip. One more time, exhale, lean forward. You have the option to stay here or exhale, round over. When you round over, the weight of that upper body also helps deepen into that hip. So make sure that you're not tensing up. Oftentimes, we will transfer tension from one part of the body to another, and what we want to do is simply breathe out that tension. So staying here, focusing on your breath, focusing on the movement, keeping it moving. With that next inhale, simply draw the shoulders back, lengthening out through the crown of the head. Exhale, hands to the seat, releasing. So we're gonna repeat to the other side. Inhale, float that left knee up. Hands to the front of that knee. As you exhale, hug the knee in. Hook the ankle over. Right hand to the ankle, left hand to the knee, gently releasing down. So here's your first progression. Maybe this is it for you. You're feeling it in that hip without any pain. You're really letting that tension go. If you're not feeling anything, go ahead on that exhale, release forward. So again, try and keep the spine energized. Try not to collapse just yet. We want to activate through the whole spine. If no pain, exhale, continue to release forward. Softening through that hip. So it sounds really funny, but you actually want to think of directing that exhale to that left hip. One more time, exhale, leaning forward. So if you make this progression and all of a sudden the hip is talking to you, back it off. Otherwise, stay here or on that next exhale, round over. Using the weight of that chest to go deeper into that left hip, still being mindful of that left knee. With that next inhale, slowly draw the shoulders back, lengthening out through the crown of the head. As you exhale, release the hands to the chair, release your foot to the floor. So that is our seated variation of Pigeon Pose. Remember, this is something that you can do anywhere. I also noticed that when I've had a really bad day, a really stressful day, this is actually something that makes me feel better. So if you're feeling really tense, if you're feeling really angry, go ahead, come to your chair, do your seated pigeon pose. Thank you, and we will be coming back with some more workouts. Thank you.